Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation. Yeah, my name is Anke Thorein, and I work as a trade union officer in the collective bargaining policy department of the United Service Trade Union, or ver.di. Our department, some words, provides support in the development of certain collective bargaining policy issues and what should be taken into account. For example, in the case of emergency collective agreements, or this means when enterprises come in economic imbalance. We also support collective bargaining committees on various issues. My areas of expertise are digitalization, including qualification and others, but also working time issues. These are, for example, detailed questions about what is important when it comes to regulations on working life models. We would be also be involved in something like a collective bargaining policy principle, where to be developed for the 4-day week, which would then be binding for all collective bargaining negotiations. But there are we have only few binding regulations. It is important to note here perhaps that all ver.di bargaining committees in ver.di, which are made normally up of voluntary union representatives, can decide autonomously on their collective bargaining demands. This is regarded as a very democratic procedure. So the next slide, please. So what I have provided for this sessions, and what do I have in mind today? Today, I would like to give a little insight, because we have more time today, into selected facts and figures that can have a significant influence on collective bargaining, also in specifically in the service sector. That would be legal starting conditions, economic starting conditions, and some key figures in employment structures that we have, or keeping in mind if we are looking for working time issues. And these are just a few key figures that collective bargaining committees take into account in their discussions. I will then show some selected data from the current ver.di working time survey in the public service sector on working time and workload on some slides, and after that we will also look at the series of collective bargaining successes relating to working time. So we can go further. So it's a little bit surprising, but an important starting point also specific for the working time, and for us as trade unions, also on subject of reference is occupational health and safety. That sounds boring at first, but it is literally an essential moment. After all, employees only have their labors to sell, and which could then be restricted or destroyed by poor working conditions. On the other hand, it is of course better for your attitude to level to have only few health restrictions as possible. And I think the Advocate General of the European Court of Justice was very exactly in saying that it is one of the most fundamental rights, because it is part of human dignity that he does not have to work to the point of exhaustion. And it is therefore important to say here that the reduction of working hours alone cannot solve this problem. Because even with a 4-hour day, very poor work content or bad work organization can lead to employees getting sick. As a bad example, I would like to cite only employees at TikTok, who always have to filter and delete violent videos, and they do it only 4 hours per day. So the next one. It is therefore important that the stress situation is always taken into account, and that appropriate conclusions are drawn in the direction of holistic risk assessment and collective bargaining policies, conclusions. One example is our collective agreements in the hospitals, which helps to ensure better staffing and less strain on employees. Also, they have more free days. In doing so, we have broken new ground in terms of collective bargaining policy and are helping the nursing staff who are normally female and employed part-time. There are now 25 collective agreements at the various university hospitals. So the next slide. Slides, please. Yes, that there's a specific German thing because German Working Hours Act limits the scope of working time organization more or narrowly than the European Working Time Directive. The law regulates both working hours and rest periods. In Germany, 8 hours of working time on weekdays with rest breaks of 30 minutes after 6 hours of work and a rest period of 11 hours until the next start of work. And we have some exception in the hospital, for example, and they can or have to work longer. This you see some figure here. This is based on economic finding, which in our opinion must not be abolished. However, this is exactly where the employer side comes in and want to eliminate the regulation. It means you can working longer and without not that break then at all. And the goal here for us as well are even working hours with better conditions, because sometimes is in the discussion of the 4-day week that, for example, in Belgium you can work longer, but in 4 days. So this is not that it's not acceptable for us normally. Please the next slide. Yeah, sorry that I didn't manage to translate all the slides. This one says, but only that on the one hand, that fewer and fewer employees will manage to retire healthily in the long term and have to get out before that. In 2020, 41.5% of those who retired early due to mental illness. The number of days lost due to mental illness is also increasing. So that we have in mind, or that our committees have in mind if they discuss working time. So the next slides are some things, basics. I don't know if you are familiar with the next slides, please. I can go faster or not, but what can this we do not assume that the reduction in working hours alone will help to escape such a development in the health situation, even if it can mean relief in short term individually. In addition, our members have different interests and demands, as I would like to show later with an example from the service sector. Whatever the case, collective bargaining policy means that productivity should be distributed in such a way that the employees benefit from growth as much as the company sides, and this must be fought for. In the theory, it's more theoretically, but as an orientation, productivity progress can be used either for more income or for a reduction in working hours, or a combination of both. So otherwise, the entrepreneur had to have one. So the next slide, please. Maybe it's more, here you can see a macroeconomic calculation of the so-called distribution neutral slope. This is the starting point every time for collective bargaining policy. So prices as well as general productivity play a role in the calculation. In any case, the fact is that we would actually have to make up 6.7% as a backlog demand from the last year's income, so that in order that the poverty growth gap does not basically grow. For this reason, the focus was and is often on the pay rise. So the next one, please. So it's the economy, and the next is about specific structural data for the service sector, which are also important for working time requirements. The first is the female employment rate is relatively high compared to other countries, but also in this around 2/3 of employees in the service sector are women. And the third, a large proportion of them work part-time. It's very important to know, even if there are differences in the individual, small sectors. So if you see this grade, it's growing more. It's like in your countries, in every country, but the female is here growing. Next slide, please. Yeah, and from this left-hand graph, you can see that there are disproportionately more women part-time in service sectors. And if you're going up, you will see more women who are working in part-time, often involuntary part-time. These lead us, for example, to a demand model that brings together the reduction of working hours and at the same time the possibility in an enterprise of increasing working hours. It's very specific. There is it's called more time for myself, our committees can develop this in their interactions. So please, next. Yes. In addition, the burden of work in the service sector is quite high in specific things, and especially in the position of work. Here in this example, I took one. It's called 30, for example, 35% work very often or frequently at weekends. The next one, or the next one, please. No. Okay, yes, okay. Or approximately 31 work shift in some way. The trend is probably rising. This service sector, it's normally, but it's especially, working. The time is a very specific problems in the duration. Next one, please. So also to have influence on the organization of the working time. For example, it's an old slides we have as a Y. We did as a Y. For example, 44% cannot choose their own break times. If I am in the office, normally I can do it, but most of the service sector can, many people cannot. Also, 65% cannot change the shift at short notice. Not tomorrow. My daughter is ill. I can't change my shift. So next one, please. And that's is why we have published, for one example, guidelines for food working time organization as support also for work councils. This is also for working councils and collective bargaining committees known as well. It's a means of the quality, also for the time scope, and to have my own chose to change the time, working time, but also health executive. Next one. Yeah. Yeah, other aspect is that there are huge huge overtime and extra work. One of the main reasons for this is that the work cannot be taken by the employees in good quality, and you work with human beings normally and childs, and it's a problem for them also to say, oh, I cut the work. So, and it's mean this 39, this dark blue means that they can't tackle their work in their time. So now I'm coming to to the where is why actually now this year in the public sectors. And the statements there is that here too the actual working time is significantly longer and considerably more different than the real working time in the contract. So, and you will see later on, this is also a point for the employees in the demand in collective bargaining. The next one. Okay. And furthermore, unfortunately, the compensatory working hours are not always or even rarely successful. They can't get their time back. So here, 47 more or less employees, they can't get their time compensation. They don't get their time concession. So next one. So and this is, I think this is a very interesting slide, because that's mean what is for the employees the different areas of the topics that also here means the most demand what they want. Green here means which wishes are most important, and yellow which are less important, and red less important. So for example, I put it here, I highlighted two: the reduction in working hours and the 4-day week. And the reduction in working hours is green in some areas, but not in all. The most important things for the most of them are higher bonus for shift works, for example. Also, the 4-day week is not that green, you see, but it's still there, the demand, but it's not, you have to decide it what it's for more urgent for the committees. So that is I haven't got it translated because it's very difficult type. Sometimes what's the meaning, but it's normally the state and so on. So also better pay for one-call time. I thought this would be more because I tell you a little bit more later. The rescue area have some specifics in their working time. They're working up to 48 hours in one call. So next slides, please. So, but still, our Federal Congress resolution is that we would like to have a working time reduction. And the survey in the public sector is an action or response to the resolution that working time policy should be promoted. That's the resolution of the last year of Congress. It means that we will continue to campaign for a reduction in average working hours with wage and personal compensation. We will propose all employees' demands and so on. Yeah. And this is why is one thing, but I'm coming now to the successes. Next slide, please. There's many results of negotiation on the reduction of working hours or some specific working teams. I choose a few. For example, the social and educational services, you know, for the child. They have 2 recognition days per year and 2 additional day offs. And they can choose if they want the 2 additional days or more allowance. Also, the AWO Augsburg is very specific, because it is a welfare association in Germany, a very special area that does not exist elsewhere, but it's called workers' welfare. And they reduced their hours per week without loss of wages. The social insurance, for example, some areas they choose not the working shortage in the working hours per week. They decided for an additional day off for ver.di members, for example. The public banks, they also have reduction of working hours, 1 hour. But here I have to say that I spoke also with the member of the committee, and they said, okay, this was not the problem from the employers, because it is not depends where and when the employees do their work. So it's this a little bit specific. Also, the post bank, the optional, they have also very famous and we discussed now as well. The option to choose either the rise in the pay, or the leave, or to choose the free time. Every year you can choose this or this. Next one, please. So, in some small enterprises in the hospital in area in Germany, there is a collective agreement from last year where the working time is reduced 35 hours a week. But I have to also here doing a note, because I spoke also with a member of there, and she said that okay, the hospital now has more staff, and we're all happy. But in the area, there is the people from other hospitals going there, and everywhere is a problem for the other one. Because if you go further there, I would like to go deeper in one success. Next one, please. There is the it's a DRK Kreisverband. It's the regional house of the German Red Cross, and they working with old peoples. And the conclusion there is some people know about this, but model collective agreement there is a 4-day week. But also after they conclude this agreement, the many employees said we don't want to work only 4 days, we want to work less. But you have to know also that the most 90% are also working part-time. So anyway, they even all were working less than 36 hours. but can do it in 4 days, or now in 5 or 6 days. So I think that's the main things, another university clinic, hospital have also reduced their working hours to 38 hours. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. I have one more, but you can go further. The next slide and the next. Okay. I think that I would remain here, stay here, because the rescue service seems or show that we have specific working time problems, because here the working time is up to 48. And now we have a collective agreement that with this special times. We have to limitation this maximum working hours, and it's now achieved in 1 or 2 parts, but now it's still the discussion with some enterprise employers are still going on, and they are very fighting against. So now I'm coming to the last one. The debate about the further reduction of working hours is necessary and must be continued, of course, but the goal must be further reduction of full-time work, and with our model, we short full-time for all, not longer. And not longer, I wrote it down because the discussion with the employers are going there. So we have staff shortening, and we need more. So especially in the IT sector, they want to do that voluntarily, the person working longer, even they become more money. So, but the implementation option are for us, and are already done in some areas, is the collective reduction of working hours in some areas. The concept of leisure option, and the 4-day week under certain condition. I mean, not more than 8 hours, and it must be made clear that the reduction in working hours in whatever form also makes sense in times of labor shortage, and in many cases is also necessary. So thank you, and we can go on the discussion. Here, yeah, there's some publications. Yeah.
Thank you, Anke.
Hopefully, I was a little bit you understood the most things with my English.
No, it was very understandable, and I have already a question, but also for our participants, if you want to ask a question, you can raise your hand. There is that feature in the reactions button. Otherwise, you can also type it into the chat. But yeah, Anke, one of the questions I had was related to the conditions that make working time reduction feasible in collective bargaining negotiations. So in one of the slides, you mentioned the importance of productivity increase and how those productivity gains can be structured in a way that you reduce the workload of employees. So my question is, what are the type of arguments that employers find more attractive to accept and embrace these policies and say, yes, we are with you, and let's discuss it.
I think very impressive was the enterprise Red Cross hospital, or hospital, but enterprise. I spoke with with the employer, and he said, okay, we have now not enough staff. And I would like to have lucky staff, because they have to do the work with with the elderly people. So and this was also very interesting was, and he introduced digital things in the working organization to more productivity. So he doesn't need that much or that many people to done the work.
But digital what's
They introduced some digital AE things that going better. He tries many things in order that it's not. He hopes that that works, and he won't need so many people anymore, employees anymore, that can live it and should reduce. That's for the first, and so normally it's a shortened stuff. He would like to, to be a magnetic for other stuff.
So what I understood is that by having these work time reduction arrangements, then even in sectors where there is labor scarcity, they can make it more attractive.
For the one, yes.
Okay, so that then they attract talent in their firms.
Yeah.
That's how they see it from them.
Yeah, but the problem is, it's no problem. Can do it. We have some more example, but it's for me. No, they have also to discuss with the social insurance to get the money back for more. You have to get more stuff in afterwards, because if you reduce your working time, normally you need more stuff. That's okay, but the social insurance have to pay more for more stuff. If 10 people, the nurses, for example, reduce their working time, so 5-6 hours a day, in order instead of 8, then they need more stuff, more person, more employees, and social insurance have to pay more for this extra stuff.
Interesting. Does anyone have additional questions? India, yes.
Thanks very much, Anke. That was really, really interesting, and really interesting to hear the different specific examples as well. I was wondering if you see any differences between the working time reduction requests of shift workers and night workers compared to workers that tend to work a more kind of regular 9 to 5, 9 to 6 pattern.
Yeah, question. I think there is there is differences. I think employees working in office could be better. So, and I think our I lost. Our trade unionists, our voluntary representatives have some other demand than for shifters, of course. But what I said was that in the social and service sector are more people who work outside the normal 8 to 9, 8 to 5. So I think there's more people, and therefore there is more need for other things. For example, in the hospital, they need to have, I don't know to say, that they know how to work next week. Which shift they work. This is very necessary for them to, to tackle their families.
Thank you, Anke. And Margareta, we have a question.
But once more, as the actual, so why it's now going further, in this question, which branches, which part of employees have which demand. I think this is the difference. But it's going further, deeper now. It's coming soon.
Margareta.
Yes, hello, and thank you so much for this wonderful overview. I have two different questions. First is, do you mention in your in the development of the demands for shorter working time also the coming high productivity augmentation via AI? For example, in the shopping sector, by automatical cash, in the public administration, all these thousands and thousands of serial processes are relatively easy to substitute by AI, and especially also in the logistic of the ports. There is now a big development for automatization of the docking work. And all these are sectors where the fear to lose the job is relatively concrete. And to bring the working time reduction in the debate as a means to how to say to compensate this loss of job. So maybe if this is my first question, maybe you first answer and then I put my second question.
Okay. Yes. I appreciate this question because my other theme is digitalization, so no problem. Yes, there is a hope to have more productivity, but it's not now more productivity now, because one theory is that the introduction of new digital AI things. It's not very good, it's not very well introduced. And now the pressure of the person is more than before, also because the digitalization is introduced. They have to tackle this new digitalization because the working organization is not good. Normally the employers have to ask, okay, AI is very good, we do it, but they have no very good idea, not a good goal, and they don't ask how to organize the organization they work in order that the employees have less pressure. They don't ask it. So, but still, the hope is that the productivity in the future is rising. So then the figures could be another one. Yes, was first. And then you have more, more possibilities to choose for perhaps if you can demand for more money or for less working hours. So, but now it's not happening. And the other one is of course in our trade agreements is still Werkzeug, an instrument that working time reduction is a possibility to yeah, to manage the shortening of staff. But we also, furthermore, we would like to, you know, to influence the working conditions there. For example, the collective agreement of H&M, you know H&M? The H&M, collective agreement. They said, okay, there is a AE, introduction of AE, but it should be introduced in order that the employees have more skills afterwards, not less. The kind of introduction should be come to a result that means they have more qualification, not less. And therefore, the one goal of this collective agreement is qualification, specific qualification that are not, you know, the qualifications not going down. So, and then therefore they can have another kind of work afterwards than before. So sometimes this happens. I think also in the ports it's probably not happened because there are so many, you know, so many possibilities to put things, technical things inside. But there's also possibilities, or can be more possibilities for shortening.
Okay, then I put my second question. In the debate on how will shortening of working hours be realistic when we have a situation where we need staff. We have a lack of staff, no? As in the hospitals, for example. No? And in this situation, I don't know if you already took the experiences of the British 4-day week experience of the pilot project, where the 4-day week was accompanied by a real reduction of working time in general from 40 to 32 hours, and with the same pay, but without a compensation of staff. And but anyway, it was not a problem because it was possible to take the same output even with this 20% less of working hours, because and this is a very interesting result, the illness rate went down so dramatically, and on around 65% less illness. So that the average productivity increased only by this factor. And you can make the addition. When you have 65% less illness, then you have huge more of hours, again, worked by the people already employed. So the necessity to look for new people to employ is not that hard. And this, I don't know if you already have thought about this argument in the debate. No? In Germany, there is a big debate that working time reduction is impossible because we have such a lack of stuff everywhere and so on. Yeah.
In our perspective, it could be because our model means that if they're working reduction and at the same time the part-time nurses, for example, can be higher. The problem with the short-term stuff is not anymore. So that's our model, but because many women want to work longer, but you know, sometimes it's a problem. Also because the specific working conditions as well. And I don't agree because I know about this kind of argumentation, and it's wonderful. It's very simple to say if in 1.5 year or 1 year shorten the working time, and there are more healthier for the long term. It could be, but you can't say it because we have no long time survive to say it, because I'm not, of course I'm happy every time. I'm happy if I can work less, and so it's okay. And in the short term, I can go and more motivated, but I suppose it could be dull and the going down this so long. In the long term, I don't know if it's in Germany. I don't know, but in Germany there's also other circumstances have on the long term significant impact of the health, and therefore also in the workforce. I don't know, but anyway, I love short times anyway. But in this perspective, I don't, because I say it in one chart. If the work is so hard, even 4 hours a day is too much, and you can throw the workforce away. Like TikTok, yes.
May I only ask India something? When I remember well, then because the argument this could be a short-term effect, no? Only in the first year maybe this going down of the illness rate. But I read anywhere that in Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, I think, there are already longer terms evaluations on this effect, and the effect is lasting. It is not a short-term effect. Could you say something to that? Because I think this was something connected with autonomy. I'm not completely sure, but.
In terms of the Australia, Canada, New Zealand, I'm not entirely sure about those. There may have been studies. I know that from the UK 1 year on study, so that was 18 months after the companies started their pilots, then the impact had been maintained. In terms of the effect, but it is, the kind of long-term effects of working time reduction are relatively understudied still. So we're still, kind of collecting lots of data on that where possible.
And I think, of course, it's shorter times normally good if the working condition is also good. So that's of course, but not only. I think I don't agree with to say only the working time reduction is the reason. No, you can also work 4 hours and for 5 hours, and It's very hard. That's why steel workers have more break, more something like that, because it's very hard. So therefore, it's a reason to say, of course, the work of those nurses have to be less, but you know, anyway, there's some problems, and we try to, of course, to reduce the working time, but also to be looking for the working conditions and to have more staff in the hospitals, because otherwise the people are get sick. Otherwise we have to tackle both.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Anke, for the presentation, for replying to all our questions. And also thanks to all our participants who were contributing in this webinar. We will upload the video in our YouTube channel, and we will also keep you posted about next events. And yeah, have a nice evening on Wednesday.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.